it's Penny Black and Jill Foster here for your next PB&J card class. Today we'll be combining some stamping and watercoloring on canvas. We'll be using Penny Black, brick background, and Mum's the Word. And here's a look at the card we'll be creating. To begin, I'm taking this canvas ATC by Prima and Penny Black, Mum's the Word, and I'm inking this with Stays On ink in the color of jet black. Just patting that onto my stamp. And then I'll be stamping directly onto the canvas ATC. Now, because the canvas is textured, you want to be sure to apply plenty of pressure. And then what I'm going to do is take a Faber-Castell Pit Artist pen and just do a little bit of coloring right over the lines just to darken them up on the areas that I've stamped. And the only reason that's necessary is because of the texture of the canvas. So I'll just zoom this in here so you can see. Just very quickly coloring right over the top on those outer lines. And once I've finished, you can see the difference. Now, the Pit Artist pens are India ink, which is permanent once dry, so I did just apply a little bit of heat to make sure it was dry. Now I'm taking the Aquarelle watercolor pencils by Faber-Castell, and I'm using sort of a golden yellow, and I'm just coloring this right onto the canvas. Not worried about complete coverage, because when we add the water, that will spread it out and blend it. And I'm coloring this on the tips of the petals of the flower. So what's nice about this is you don't need to be exact. You can basically just scribble it on in the areas that you would like it to be and let the water do all of the blending. Next, I'm going to take an orange aquarelle colored pencil, and I'm just going to color that after the yellow, making my way down the petal but leaving a bit of room at the very base of the petal for our darkest color. And as I'm coloring, I am using a pretty heavy pressure so that I get enough of the color of the aquarelle pencil on there so when we add water it remains vibrant. Now I'm taking a red and I'm adding that down at the base of the petals. And if you overlap a little bit onto the orange, that's fine. Now I'm ready to take my water brush, and I'm going to start at the base of the petal, the flower petal, and I'm just coloring right over the top and feathering, using a feathering motion towards the tip of the petal. I'm not going all the way up because I don't want to dilute that yellow too much with the red as I move that. These colored pencils instantly blend when you add the water. And I'm just continuing to work my way around. You can see blending it pretty much over the red and the orange areas, leaving the tips that golden yellow. And we'll go back and add water on those. I just didn't want to pull too much of the red and orange out to the tip and lose the yellow. Now before I start coloring on the yellow, I am just coloring with that water brush onto scratch paper to make sure all the red is out. Now you can see I'm pulling the yellow down towards the red and the orange. And I love how these colors get so vibrant when you add that water. It just really brings it to life. And anytime I get a little bit of red onto that water brush, I just color onto that scratch paper to remove it and go back to working my way from the yellow down. So you can go back and forth between the two. You just want to make sure that you don't have too much red on that water brush before you go onto the tips of the petals. Now I'm taking the aquarelle watercolor pencil. This is in the yellow, and I'm going right over the stamped image. And because the canvas is still a little bit wet, I'm able to easily apply that color, and it's very rich and vibrant as it goes onto the canvas. It almost just melts onto the canvas because it is wet. And as needed, you can go back and just add more water and blending. I'm going to follow the same procedure for the leaves. I'm starting with my lightest color. Then I'm going to blend that out with the water brush. Then I'm going to take a darker green, it's almost a blue, and add that at the base of the leaf and along the side of the stem. And then I'll go back and blend that with the water brush. And then to darken it just a little bit more in a few places, I'll color directly with the watercolor pencil onto the canvas that is still wet. Now I wanted to add a bit of a blue background, so here I'm taking the water brush and I'm just applying the water onto the canvas outside of the image. This will make it really easy to color with the colored pencil, or the watercolor pencil, excuse me, from the edge of the flower out. And you can see how that instantly blends because the canvas is already wet. If you need to do any more blending, you can go back with the water brush and blend right over the top. And there you can see I'm just blending the edges a bit more. And then I'm working my way down. And I did do this in sections so that the water that I apply to the canvas is still wet when I go to color with the watercolor pencil. And I just continued to work my way around the image, and then I also went back and added a little bit of a darker color closest to the tips of the petals. Now I wanted to be sure that this was completely dry, so I applied heat with my heat gun, and then I like to give this just a little bit more strength, so I'm applying adhesive to the back of the canvas and also onto a piece of craft cardstock, and then I'm just going to adhere that piece of canvas down onto the cardstock. To finish out the card, I added it to a background. The top was distressed with tumbled glass and broken china distressing. The bottom was distressed with peeled paint and then stamped with penny black brick wall. For details and more information, visit the Penny Black website, www.pennyblackink.com. Here's a list of all the supplies used. Thanks for watching.